The courtroom door slams shut. Every head turns. A woman in a torn coat stumbles to the defendant's table. Her hands are scraped raw. Judge Frank Caprio watches her, his expression softening. Then he calls the next case. A man in an expensive overcoat strides forward. He places his leather briefcase on the table with a sharp thud. He does not look at the woman. He looks at the judge as if he is a business partner. State of Rhode Island versus Julian Croft, Judge Caprio reads. His eyes shift between the two people before him. Mr. Croft, you are charged with leaving the scene of an accident. You struck a vehicle owned by Ms. Irina Petran. You then drove away. Julian Croft, a man in his 50s with perfectly styled gray hair, gives a tight smile. Your Honor, there's a simple explanation. It was a minor tap. I felt a slight jolt. I saw no significant damage in my mirror. I was late for a critical shareholder meeting. Irina Petran, a woman with weary eyes and a strong Eastern European accent, clutches the table edge. Minor tap? He hit me. Then he drove away. I was shaken. My neck. It hurts. We are prepared to settle this financially, Julian states. He opens his briefcase. I have the estimate for her repairs right here. I will pay it. Today, in cash. Caprio leans forward. Mr. Croft, this isn't a civil matter. It's a crime. You hit another human being and you left. Did you check if she was injured? She was clearly fine. Her car was operational. Julian's tone is dismissive. He glances at Irina's old, dented sedan visible through the courtroom window. It's not as if it's a new vehicle. The pre-existing damage far exceeds any I might have caused. Irina's face flushes. The car is what I have. It is what I need for my work. You left me there, alone. I propose we be reasonable, Julian says, ignoring her. I pay for the repairs. We all go about our day. This is a waste of the court's valuable time. Judge Caprio's gaze is steady. Ms. Petran's time is also valuable. So is her safety. You didn't just damage a car, Mr. Croft. You violated a social contract. You broke the law. The law, Julian scoffs, the word tasting sour in his mouth. This is about a fender bender, not a felony. We'll see, Caprio says quietly. Officer, please present the evidence. The court officer activates a monitor. It shows grainy traffic camera footage. A sleek black luxury sedan runs a red light. It strikes the side of Irina's car as she moves through the intersection. The impact is not a tap. It is a solid, jarring hit that spins her car 45 degrees. Julian's car stops for a moment. Then, its tires squeal as it accelerates away, disappearing from the frame. Irina watches the screen, her hand moving unconsciously to her neck. She relives the impact in the tension of her shoulders. That is not a minor tap, Mr. Croft, Caprio states. Julian's composure cracks for a second. He straightens his tie. The camera angle is deceptive. It looks worse than it was. It looks like a hit and run, Caprio counters. He turns to Irina. Ms. Petran, what do you do for work? I am a home health aide, she says. I care for elderly people in their homes. I need my car to visit them. For 5 days I had no car. I could not work. I lost that pay. Julian lets out an impatient breath. Then I will compensate her for lost wages, add it to the check. This is simple arithmetic. It is not arithmetic to me, Irina fires back, her voice gaining strength. Mrs. Gable, she is 92. She relies on me for her meals. I had to call a neighbor to help her. I felt like I failed her. You cannot pay for that feeling. Julian looks at her, truly looks at her for the first time. He sees the calluses on her hands. He sees the deep lines of a hard life on her face. He sees someone he has spent his entire life avoiding. His lip curls slightly. It is not anger. It is distaste. Your Honor, this is becoming an emotional spectacle. I came here to resolve a traffic matter. I am offering full financial restitution. What more could she possibly want? Judge Caprio watches this exchange closely. He sees the complete disconnect. He sees a man who believes every problem has a price, and every person has theirs. Perhaps she wants an apology, Mr. Croft. Caprio suggests, his voice low. Julian Croft turns to face Irina Petran. He looks at a point on the wall behind her head. Very well. I apologize if you were inconvenienced. The emptiness of the words hangs in the air. Irina shakes her head, her eyes glistening. No, you do not mean it. You are just saying the words he wants to hear. Julian's patience snaps. What do you want from me? This is how the world works. I have the resources to fix this. You need the resources. It's a transaction. Stop pretending it's anything else. A heavy silence fills the courtroom. Julian's outburst echoes off the walls. He has said the quiet part out loud. Judge Caprio does not react with anger. He leans back, a deep sadness in his eyes. A transaction, he repeats. You see this woman's livelihood, her distress, as a business transaction. It's the only thing that makes sense, Julian insists. But some of the bluster has left him. The silence of the room is unnerving. Your Honor, Irina says, her voice barely a whisper. May I speak? Please, Ms. Petrin, Caprio says gently. She turns to Julian. You ask what I want. I want you to see me. When you hit my car, you did not see a person. You saw a problem. When you drove away, you showed me I was nothing to you. I am not nothing. I am a mother. I am a caregiver. I am a person. I want you to know that. Julian stares at her. He cannot hold her gaze. He looks down at his own perfectly manicured hands. The simplicity and power of her request dismantles his entire argument. There is no number to assign to it. Judge Caprio sees the shift. The wall is cracking. Mr. Croft, you are a successful man. What is it you do? I am a venture capitalist, Julian says, his voice quieter now. You invest in companies. You bet on people, Caprio says. You understand value, but you have failed to see the value in this woman. Not her monetary value, her human value, the value of her work, the value of her dignity. Caprio pauses, letting the words sink in. This court is not a marketplace. It is a place of justice. And justice requires more than a check. It requires responsibility. It requires acknowledgement. He turns to the court officer. Is the other party present? The back doors open. An elderly woman in a wheelchair is pushed into the courtroom by a neighbor. She is frail, wrapped in a blanket. Irina's hand flies to her mouth. Mrs. Gable? What are you doing here? The old woman's voice is thin but clear. I told them to bring me. I had to come. Julian Croft watches, confused. This was not part of the transaction. Part 4. Judge Caprio's voice is soft, but carries to every corner of the room. Ms. Petrin, you spoke of failing Mrs. Gable. Would you like to tell the court what she said when you finally reached her? Irina looks at the old woman, who gives a slow, encouraging nod. She said she was not worried about the meals. She was worried about me. She prayed for me. Mrs. Gable speaks up, her eyes fixed on Julian. Irina is like a daughter to me. When she didn't come, I was afraid something terrible happened to her. And you did this. You left her. You caused that fear. Julian Croft stands frozen. He sees the connection between these two women. It is a bond he cannot quantify. He sees the real, human cost of his actions laid bare in the face of a 92-year-old woman. His financial offer suddenly seems grotesque and meaningless. Your Honor, Julian says, his voice strained. I don't know what to say. The truth is a good place to start, Caprio replies. Forget the court, forget the law. Look at Miss Petrin, look at Mrs. Gable. What do you see? Julian forces himself to look at Irina. He sees the strength in her posture. He sees the fatigue. He sees a person. He then looks at Mrs. Gable. He sees vulnerability and love. His shoulders slump. The arrogant posture is gone. I see people, he admits. The words are a revelation to him. And what did you do to them? Caprio asks, his tone not accusatory but guiding. Julian takes a deep breath. The truth is finally too heavy to carry. I hurt them. I was selfish. I was late for a meeting that, in the grand scheme of my life, meant nothing. And I caused all of this pain, because I couldn't be bothered to stop. The confession changes the air in the room. The tension shifts from confrontation to catharsis. The court finds you guilty of leaving the scene of an accident, Caprio says. The gavel does not fall, but your sentence will not be conventional. Judge Caprio steeples his fingers. Julian Croft, you are sentenced to 100 hours of community service, but you will not serve it at a charity of your choosing. You will serve it with an organization that supports home health aides and the elderly they care for. You will see this world you have ignored. Julian nods slowly, accepting the terms. Furthermore, Caprio continues, you will pay Ms. Petrin for her lost wages in car repairs, but you will not hand her a check. You will sit down with her. You will review her bills. You will understand line by line the cost your actions imposed on her life. Yes, Your Honor. Caprio turns to Irina. Ms. Petrin, does this resolution satisfy the need for justice? Irina looks at Julian. He is no longer a wall of arrogance. He is just a man, humbled. She sees the genuine shame in his eyes. It is a start, she says. Julian Croft turns to her. He doesn't look at the wall. He looks directly into her eyes. His voice is raw. Irina Petrin, I am truly sorry. Not for the inconvenience. I am sorry for my disrespect. I am sorry for not seeing you. You are not nothing. You are everything. He then turns to Mrs. Gable. And I am sorry for the fear I caused you. It was unforgivable. Mrs. Gable gives another slow nod. This one is a gesture of acceptance. Judge Caprio brings his gavel down. The sound is firm, but not angry. It is a period at the end of a difficult sentence. This court is adjourned. Julian remains standing as the room begins to empty. He watches Irina gently wheel Mrs. Gable out of the courtroom. He does not move to leave. He just watches them go. A changed man finally understanding that some debts cannot be paid with money. They can only be paid with humanity.